Welcome to the VEROSCOPE analysis again of Jenn Soto, who we are looking at her Orange County interview. If you're new to the case, this is Jenn Soto and her daughter Madeline, who was only just 13 at the time that this guy, Stephan Sterns, murdered her, and he has now been convicted and sentenced to 21 life sentences without the possibility of parole. However, this lady here, Jenn Soto, is highly suspicious, and because we've been doing the forensic linguistics and statement analysis of her police interviews, including the police interview where she was given immunity from what she said in that interview, and we've been looking at her other statements. Many people believe that her involvement in the case is more than just being a witness. So we're now going to continue where we left off, and we're going to analyze at a forensic statement analysis level what she says and where she's deceptive and where we see potential lies and deception from Jenn Soto herself. Let's carry on with the interview.
How did he feel when you said he needs a lawyer?
He didn't believe me. Like, when I told him, like, don't you see forensics is closing down the house? They fucking know something, or there's something, like, they know something. Something's happening. They wouldn't be locking down the house this way if they didn't have suspicions of something.
And this is where we left off last time. So she's asked, how did he feel about needing a lawyer? And she says, he didn't believe me. And she's talking about the law enforcement, the police officers, being suspicious, and she says they know something. That in itself is highly suspicious, the language to say that they know something. It's guilty linguistics. Let's carry on.
But I wasn't thinking, I don't know why I wasn't thinking him. Like, I was just like, no, they've got the wrong guy. He just kept saying that they have the wrong guy, that they're focusing on the wrong person, and that we're wasting time and
So in this analysis, we're going to be concentrating on how she self-censors, begins a sentence, recognizes what she is about to say won't serve her interests, stops, and then restarts a new sentence. So we call that self-censorship, and she does it constantly.
We call his dad. We tell his dad to come down here, and his dad did come down here and met us at a hotel. That was another thing. I don't have that much money. I live off of disability. I couldn't afford to put us up on a hotel. Like, when you guys said that we couldn't return, I was like, I didn't know where to go. I was trying to think if any family member would have a spare room or anything like that, and not that could take the three of us. When I say three of us, I mean him and the dog.
And that was the other thing that we noted in the last analysis, wasn't it? That she said she doesn't include Madeline here, and Madeline's still alive at this stage of the police interview. But her body hasn't been found. Although there is photographic evidence on Stephan's phone, but her body hasn't been found, and as far as Jenn is aware, she could still be alive, and her linguistics don't show that. And she's talking about, let's just play that again.
And I know at my mom's house, we wouldn't have been welcome. My mom does not like Stephan. She's never liked Stephan.
Oh yeah, and that's the Soto sigh that we analyzed.
So I knew that our only option was to go to a hotel, but I couldn't afford it. So we called Chris, and Chris met us at a hotel by Disney,
Okay.
off of Western Way, and that's where we went.
Okay, so that's where we got up to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought just the other minute. So here we are at the point where we left off last time.
We got there pretty late. We checked in. I used the restroom, and I was getting ready for bed, or getting like laying down in bed probably around 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, and I fell asleep.
Okay, so picture the scene. If she's involved, if she's been helping Stephan move Madeline, carrying Madeline perhaps to the car, perhaps it's a really heavy weight as far as she's concerned. Now they're at the hotel. The police have been interviewing them. She's said they know something, the linguistics of guilt. And now she's having to tell these officers what they were discussing in that hotel room. So obviously, if she is guilty and involved, she can't tell these officers the truth about what's been going on in that hotel room. Perhaps it would be easier to say everybody's falling asleep and I'm in the bathroom and then I fell asleep, and let's leave it at that. So let's analyze her linguistics to see if we can see anything like that. Oh, if you're new to forensic linguistics and statement analysis, we mark up a document in colors. So here, if we see sensitivity or repetition, we would mark it in this pink color. Perhaps if somebody's explaining why for sensitivity words like because and, we would mark it in blue. Green is time, gold is hedging, and if we see pronouns or dropped pronouns, red, and this white with an X. And also leakage, which I'll cover later on, perhaps if we see a good example, we would mark in purple. So let's look at what she says in detail. She says we. So we notice she's joining with Stephan. Even now, she's joining with Stephan. We got there pretty late. We checked in. I used the restroom. And I was getting ready for bed or getting like laying down in the bed. All right, so we have the pattern of deception immediately. Let's when we go through a real, as opposed to just an example, when we go through a real statement forensically for statement analysis, we could spend half an hour just on this. We're not going to now because everyone will get bored, but let's go through it reasonably slowly so that you can start to see what we can find just in a single sentence. And I was getting ready for bed or getting like. So she can't commit. And in statement analysis, we don't say it for them. If they can't say it, excuse me, we don't say it for them. We checked in. So there's a huge time gap here, isn't there? We checked in and then this huge time gap, I used the restroom. And I was getting ready for bed, or if you don't like me doing this, perhaps I was doing something else. Getting like. So when we see the word like, getting like means you weren't actually doing this exactly. You were getting like and then something else. Laying down in bed. Do you see how when someone's deceptive and they don't want to tell you what they're really doing, i.e. discussing what the hell happened and how the hell you're going to get away with it, what are you going to say next time with all that sort of stuff, you come up with this rubbish. I was getting ready for bed or getting like laying down in bed, probably. around 3:30, 3:45 in the morning. And I fell asleep. Stephan was already asleep at this point. Yeah, this is a deceptive sentence, in my view, because the truth of the matter is they're having a major discussion in that room. You would be, wouldn't you? Under those circumstances. This is deceptive. Probably. Or like. Let's carry on.
Kind of drifted off as you were falling asleep. Like you went to the bathroom and he goes straight to bed?
He was already in bed before I went to the bathroom.
Okay.
I was on my phone for a little bit. He was laying in bed snoozing. I went to use the restroom. I was in the restroom for quite a while because I had like a terrible cell. When I came back out, he was asleep.
Did you notice the self-censorship there where she talks about a terrible I imagine stomach ache, and then back out again, he was asleep. So she's constantly trying to convince us that he was asleep and she's gone to sleep or is going to sleep or something like that probably, or something else. Do you see the language?
At least I thought he was asleep. But
There's the Soto sigh
Did
again.
he stay with you guys?
not in the hotel room. He stayed in a different room on the same floor.
Okay.
The following morning, I wake up, I think around 9 o'clock in the morning, and Stephan's not there. And I remember thinking...
Okay, so we look for tenses in deception. Although Jenn Soto is fluent in Spanish, she's also completely fluent in English. So she does understand tenses, and she uses the correct tenses in the correct place when she's not being deceptive. So notice here, she doesn't say that she woke up. She says, I wake up. Now, individual flags don't necessarily mean it's definitely deception, but we note it. So people do have ways and manners of speaking, and they do make linguistic errors. However, we note the flag and we put in the deceptive marker. Because if she's making up stories or half making up stories, or more likely leaving out what really happened and including some of what did, in other words, deception by omission, within the storytelling, the mind will often go to present tense. It just does at the unconscious level. So you'd hear things like, I wake up, rather than I woke up, because the mind is in storytelling mode, and it carries on selecting in the Broca area of the brain, which is responsible for language selection, the incorrect tense, or perhaps the incorrect article. Let's carry on.
He left again without his phone and didn't tell anyone where he was going. That's suspicious as fuck again. Why is he trying to...
Notice that she self-censors there with a long pause. Okay, so let's see where we've got up to. The police, did you go straight to sleep when you got in, or did you just kind of drift off as you were falling asleep? So notice the detective mirrors the deception. So I think his experience, he might not be trained in statement analysis, but he's experienced, and his gut feel would have told him, you know, there's a big time gap between checking in and using the bathroom and everyone's suddenly asleep. In such a traumatic scenario with no conversation, it doesn't seem believable. And so his gut tells him, did you go straight to sleep when you got in, or did you just kind of drift off as you were falling asleep? Giving her the option to start to be honest. She says, the thinking, because this is bullshit. The police officer interrupts her, unfortunately. You went to the bathroom and he went straight to bed. Jenn, he was already in bed before I went to the bathroom. I was on my... Okay, good. So the detective is dragging out some of the truth. I was on my phone for a little bit, but she minimizes. He was laying in bed snoozing. So she has to keep to the rubbish, although the truth's being dragged out of her. And again, look how common the bathroom, the restroom. So we call this sensitive. I was in the restroom for quite a while, a little bit. Bathroom and restroom being constantly repeated. It's important to her to tell us that he's asleep, he's sleeping, snoozing. I think in reality there's a huge conversation going on. When I came back out, he was asleep. So again, at least, but she can't commit to it. At least I thought he was asleep. Do you see? So we have a complete deception architecture from the off, just in this small part of the interview. And what have we done? We've done 5 parts now, something like that. We're about 45 minutes in. But, and then the police officer interrupts and says, did his dad stay with you guys? She says, not in the hotel room. He stayed in a different room on the same floor. Okay. The following morning, I wake up. Do you see how the tense is incorrect? I think. So she can't commit to it. Were they up all night? Possibly. Or certainly she got little sleep. I wake up, I think, around 9 in the morning. And Stephan's not there. What on earth has Stephan been doing? He's been going out cruising the previous night. And she, Soto, even said to him, I don't think that's a good idea to go out looking for my daughter. Complete guilty action. And she's never even looked once herself, which is quite common in parents who are claiming that their missing daughter perhaps has been taken. It's very common that they don't search themselves. And Soto repeats that pattern, and she's not looked for her daughter. And she says, and I remember thinking, he left, which is a word in statement analysis that we always look at, again, without his phone, and didn't tell anyone where he was going. And who's anyone? So this is passive. That's suspicious again. Why is he trying to... And then she self-censors once more. There's so much here, we literally could spend hours just on where we are. I remember thinking, he left again without his phone. So she's very sensitive around the phones. The police. But we took his phone. So he got a new phone. She says, he didn't get the new phone until later that day. Do you see how the police officer's extremely good, isn't he? He's catching her. He left again without his phone, but we took his phone. She says, He didn't get the phone until later that day. And she's trying to tell us that she's on her phone in the bathroom whilst he's asleep, which we don't believe. He didn't get the new phone until later that day, where his dad woke up, came to our hotel room, and then handed him a phone and said, "Here, have this phone in the meantime until you get your phone back." The police: "Are you just saying he's out and about with no phone?" Okay, let's carry on with the actual.
Well, we took his phone, so he got a new phone?
He didn't get the new phone until later that day, where his dad woke up, came to our hotel room, and then handed him a phone.
Okay.
And said, "Here, have this phone in the meantime until you get your old phone back."
Oh, so you're just saying he's out and about with no phone?
Yeah, he's out and about with no phone, so there's no way for us to contact him. There's no way for us to... I didn't know if he even knew how to get back to the hotel.
Okay, so she then brings in, and she wants to get off the subject of being caught lying about the phone. So uses the word even, which we always look for, don't we?
Because I drove that night. He's a little oblivious to when it comes to directions. So I'm just like, is he going to even figure out how to get here? But he rolled in around 11:15.
Notice the sudden increase in nervous body language.
Rolled in with a cup of Wawa and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just driving around. I grabbed some Wawa on 182.
I'm so sorry, I was just driving around." Well, we know what Stephan Sterns has been doing.
Got lost. I didn't know how to get back to the hotel. But I'm here now." And I'm just like, detectives are about to show up. What the fuck would have happened if they showed up and you weren't here? Like, you would have been a fugitive. Like, what are you doing?
This is incredible. She's saying you would have been a fugitive. So she's worried about him being a fugitive. I think she knows because he has, when he was using her car the other night, he wasn't looking for Madeline. And the reason why she said it's not a good idea, in my opinion, is taking Madeline to a different hiding spot. Perhaps he was under time pressure, wasn't he? And through beautiful karma, he punctured the tire, which is absolutely wonderful. Can you imagine the increase in the stress levels with a punctured tire having just temporarily hidden Madeline, giving the location away? I think the discussions were, is it the right time to hide Madeline in a better area?
And he was just apologetic about not telling anyone where he went.
She's sensitive about where he went, how he went out there.
But you know, I mean, he had a Wawa cup and he said he was up at 192.
Yeah, but in reality, I know that he truly took my car in the middle of the night to Northport.
In reality, he truly, the linguistics are again deceptive.
And I was down there for an hour and came back. I didn't suspect that at all.
Okay.
It's important to her to tell us that she didn't suspect. Let's look at that in detail. Okay. So look at the phone, 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 phone. Previously. Where is it? Phone. Yeah, the phone's highly sensitive. Yeah, he's out and about with no phone. So there's no way for us to contact him. There's no way for us to, I don't know if he even knew how to get back to the hotel because I drove that night. He's a little oblivious when it comes to directions. So I just like Is he going to even figure out how to get here? But he rolled in around 11:15, rolled in with a cup of Wawa and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just driving around." Minimization. I grabbed some Wawa on 192. This 192 is mentioned again and again and again by Soto and got lost. So she pre-conditions the lost, preconditions that he doesn't know where he is or how to get anywhere. I didn't know how to get back to the hotel, but I'm here now. So he's out. He's disappeared. And I'm just like, in other words, perhaps you're not. Detectives are about to show up. What the fuck would have happened if they'd showed up and you weren't here? Like, you would have been a fugitive. Now, why would he have been a fugitive, Jen? Because you're aware. You have knowledge. I think you're involved. And I think lots of other people agree. The linguistics show that. Let's look at this closely. What the fuck would have happened if they'd showed up and you weren't here? Like, you would have been a fugitive. This is her missing daughter, who, by the way, she's not mentioned once in this section of the transcript, and very rarely throughout the whole interview. She's distancing. And she doesn't care. She's more concerned about optics and that he would have been a fugitive if the detectives had turned up and he was out potentially moving the body. Like, what are you doing? Her concern is getting caught. Not Madeline. Can you see that? This is just absolutely awful. The concern is not for her daughter, it's for getting caught and what it would look like to the detectives if they'd seen that you were out all night doing God knows what. And he was just apologetic about not telling anyone. So this is sensitive, probably because it's not true, where he went. And then the police officer says, but you know, I mean, he had a Wawa cup and he said he was up at 192? Yeah, says Jen. But in reality, I know that he truly took my car in the middle of the night to Northport, Florida, and was down there for an hour and came back. And then, oops, I didn't suspect that at all. I know. Yeah, but in reality, in other words, what I've been saying isn't real. I know that he truly, unnecessary language, and look at the structure, I know that he truly, in reality, I know that he truly. Can you see how this is deceptive? Took my car, strong, in the middle of the night to Northport and was down there for an hour, time specific, she knows, and came back. I didn't suspect that at all. Well, you didn't suspect it because you knew. Okay, let's carry on.
I literally thought, I'm like, oh, this man, we were right next to like a a Target. So I'm thinking, oh, he's probably like stress shopping, just looking at stuff. He likes to browse. But it's like, maybe he's in there somewhere. but I didn't have a car. I couldn't go out looking, right? And also detectives were coming, so I didn't want to leave. Detectives eventually show up. Actually, we were in the hotel room for a while. He went back to sleep and slept. I took a little snooze for a little bit that morning, and then I got up, and then I went downstairs to the lobby, and I saw.
Do you notice we've got a lot of what we call temporal lacunas, in other words, huge amounts of missing time, which he fills in partially truthfully with being out all night and sleeping and snoozing.
Chris. And Chris asked if I wanted some lunch, so we went to the hotel bar and ate some lunch. We brought up some lunch back for Stephan, told him to eat a little bit. When he woke up, he took like 2 bites.
Yeah, something's happening as she remembers that. He took like 2 bites, and then we have this enormous long pause.
Then detective showed up. He went downstairs. They let us know that there was a press conference happening, which we already had an idea was going to happen, and they told us they would give us a ride and escort us to the conference here, and that you guys would let us in the back way so that media wouldn't see us. But in reality,
right, her daughter's still missing. They haven't found her body, and she's giggling.
Now I know.
She's giggling at the police subterfuge.
It was just an interview guy with us. But yeah, then we showed up here and got separated. Haven't heard from him since. Haven't spoken to him since. Have no interest in speaking to him at all. Yeah, that was it. Then we got interviewed.
What have you done?
Yeah, she sometimes has said, yeah, that was it. At one of the media interviews, and that was it. Her daughter's still missing.
Since, like, where did you go back to the hotel? Did you stay somewhere else?
No. So after the interview and all that stuff, Chris took me to my sister's house. I've been at my sister's house ever since.
Cool.
Yesterday I went out for.
So she calls the police interview and in the search for her daughter and that stuff.
A little bit to go to Target to try to take my mind off of things. I went to Target to go get myself a toothbrush and deodorant, things that I didn't have because.
And she wants to take her mind off of things, so she goes shopping whilst her daughter's missing.
I left the house the last second. I also went to.
I'm surprised she didn't have a game of tennis.
My ex-husband's wife's mom's house. It's complicated, but we're all friends.
So?
Yeah. And they consoled me. They just kept me company. They made lunch. Then I went back to my sister's house, and I've just been pretty much there ever since now. When I went to Target, I decided, like, oh shit, I shouldn't be out in public. People could recognize me. It can either be good or bad what people could tell me. I've already had people recognize me in my community, and dealing with people's heavy emotions and them coming to me and crying and telling me they're so sorry and how they feel is so heavy because like I just have to kind of stand there and take their emotions and like I don't know, it's so heavy. When I realized that these were the interactions I was having in public, I'm like, I need to stay home because I can't carry anyone else's emotions right now. I have my own.
Okay, things are heavy that you can't carry. Let's have a look. She says, I literally thought, I'm like, oh, this man, we were right next to like a public, I'm sorry, a target. So I'm thinking. Notice how when she talks rapidly, the sentence structure is strange. Oh, he's probably like stress shopping, just looking at stuff. He likes to browse, just like maybe he's in there somewhere. But I didn't have a car. So when we see this pattern, quite often it's deceptive afterwards, especially once we start seeing the patterns of the third and the fourth eye. But here we have two. I couldn't go out looking right. I know you couldn't go out looking because there's no point. I couldn't go out looking right. This is for her missing daughter. And also, detectives were coming. So there's a secondary reason why she couldn't go and look for her daughter, because she didn't have a car, because Stephan's doing other stuff, like possibly surveillance of the body area, possibly thinking about moving it. So I didn't want to leave because the detectives were coming. Detectives eventually show up. Actually, comparison word, which we always look at. Just minimization word, which we always look at. We were in the self-censorship, yeah. We were in the hotel room for a while. He went back to sleep and slept. This is interesting, isn't it? He went back to sleep and slept. Combine that with this extremely strange language pattern. He went back to sleep and slept. I took a little snooze for a little bit that morning. So she fills in the gaps of what really happened and what was really discussed with sleep, slept, snooze. If it's not one, it's the other. And this means that you don't have to say what was really being said. And then I get up, and then I went downstairs to the lobby, and I saw Chris. Also, don't forget, in deception, most of it's by omission, sprinkled in with little bits of truth. And where it's very important to lie by commission, in other words, a blatant lie, then they do that. But most of it's by omission. And Chris asked if I wanted some lunch. So we went to the hotel bar and ate some lunch. We brought up some lunch back for Stephen, told, which is strong language, him to eat a little bit. Don't forget he's been out all night doing stuff that she knows about, she tells us. When he woke up, he took like 2 bites. You know, I think that he was bitten by Madeline. And then this huge long pause as her brain thinks and recalls scenes. Then detectives showed up. He went downstairs. They let us know, so she's still joined with Stephan, even though she knows he's going to be a fugitive if he's missing when the detectives get back. They let us know that there was a press conference happening, which we already had an idea was going to happen. And they told us they would give us a ride and escort us to the conference. And then you guys would let us in the back way, giggle, giggle, so that media wouldn't see us, but in reality, now I know that was just to get us here for the interview. But yeah, then we show up and get separated. Haven't heard from him since, haven't spoken to him since, have no interest in speaking to him at all. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. Then we got interviewed, sorry. What have you done since? She says, no, reason why. So after the interview and all that stuff, so her missing daughter is now, and she's being interviewed to help find her daughter, but it becomes all that stuff. Almost like you can't be bothered with it all. You can't even be bothered to mention your daughter's name. So the interview for clues is just, and all that stuff. And then Chris took me to my sister's house. I've been at my sister's house ever since. I won't go into all of this because we've heard it already, but essentially she wants to go shopping to take her mind off things. Notice the pattern of the becauses and the so's and the ands. This is reasons why. And also, so heavy. I think it is important actually just to quickly read this bit. I've already had people recognize me in my community and dealing with people's heavy emotions. And then coming to me and crying and telling me they're so sorry. And how they feel is so heavy. 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 Because I just have to kind of stand there. We always note the position. The body position is important to note when we see it in linguistics. And take their emotions and like, I don't know, it's just so heavy, 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 heavy. When I realized that these were the interactions I was having in public, I'm like, I need to stay at home because I just can't carry anyone else's emotions right now. See, there's this phrase that we use in statement analysis called leakage. And I'm wondering if we're seeing some leakage here about carrying something heavy. Okay, let's carry on with the...
To deal with, like, my own, I don't want my own mental health suffering right now, or for me to spiral and end up back being hospitalized.
So when did you meet Stephen or Stephan?
I met Stephan in 2017. We both worked for Eco Homes, a real estate company. I did appointments, and he worked in the office doing like warranty work. We met as coworkers. We became really good friends. We were best friends for like a year. And then eventually I asked him if he wanted to hook up, and he said sure.
Madeline's name or other people's names are sometimes redacted.
Did you live in Orlando, Kissimmee? Where were you guys staying then?
Kissimmee.
And did you guys live together in 17?
He technically lived at his parents' house, but he was staying at my house all the time.
Okay. Same house you're in now or a different house?
Wait, I take it back. In 2017, he wasn't staying over my house. It started in 2018 when we started hooking up, and he started sleeping over my house.
Okay.
And what were your next question?
Was that in the current
Yes.
house you live in now?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you lived in that house?
Okay, let's go back to the analysis. So she's talking about when she met Stephan, how long they've been together. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the analysis, apart from noticing that I ran out of funds. So we supported ourselves, but then in reality, it's I ran out of funds. So in effect, she's supporting Stephan. And I believe that Stephan has also been stealing, and I believe that she's fully aware that Stephan has been stealing. And I believe he's been stealing from his father, and she's aware of that, and was aware of it during the time that he was doing that. And I've heard that he might have also stolen from Madeline. So we do have an awful lot of deception indicators just in this small part of the transcript. We've got psychological unity with Stephan. He left again. Yeah. Most of this we've covered. Yeah, the phone's highly sensitive. She knows. We've got lots of reason whys. We have consciousness of concealed information. Okay, so please do hit the notification bell if you haven't already. We're going to be looking at the Summer Wells case as well. So if you haven't subscribed and hit the notification bell, please do. I'm going to be making the first of those in the next day or so. And I believe already from the few videos that I've seen, we'll be able to get to a conclusion on that. I think we're going to be able to find some real evidence. Okay, so I look forward to speaking with you in the comments, and we'll be continuing the Soto Orange County interview, and we'll be beginning the Summer Wells case. Okay, look forward to speak to you in the comments.